Hey, good afternoon everybody. It's about 4:10 and I'm doing this sort of as an update to my monthly opinions for the late October, early November. The reason I'm doing this is because I did my opinions, if you will, about a week or two early, and I did point out a lot of things without giving away any spoilers, but now that I've gotten the issue already, I figured I might as well go all out, if you will, and kind of do an updated version. I don't normally do updated versions sometimes unless I have to, and in this case I do. So, because one of the subscribers to my channel, who's also a fan and a subscriber, I guess, to the comic, has asked me is what do I think is going to happen with certain things. One of the things this person asked me was, will we ever see Bunnie's uncle again? And Uncle Beauregard. And the question and the answer to me is obviously yes. We're going to see him. I mean, you don't just introduce a Grand Master, a new character, if you will, into the continuity without possibly seeing them again, especially if that character's got some kind of relation to one of the main characters. So, to me, yeah, most definitely we're going to be seeing her uncle again, probably sooner than we think. Now, another question this person asked was, what do I think Snively is going to do? Because if you remember right, if you remember correctly, if you go back and look at the final page of issue 218, in the side story, or the backstory, towards the end of that, at the end of the backstory, I should say, Snively says to himself, or says in his mind, yeah, it may be over, Eggman, but it's not over the way you think it is. In other words, Snively seems still determined to get the Iron Queen back. Why? Well, it's real simple. See, the Iron Queen, believe it or not, believe this or not, is a lot more powerful than Robotnik, or Eggman, whatever you want to call him. It's true. She is a lot more powerful. Excuse me for a second. I'm sorry about that. I had to go get my glass out of the rec room so I can get something to drink here. My mouth is kind of getting dry. But anyway, it seems that Snively is determined to get the Iron Queen out of prison and back into power because, like I said, believe it or not, the Iron Queen is actually more powerful than Eggman. I mean, think about what her powers are. She can control electronics, techno magic, if you will. She can control techno magic. This is why Snively would want to release her, because with her back in power, Eggman wouldn't stand a chance, and Snively would also get back into power. This is why he wants to free her, so that he, Snively, can take over again. Now I will give Ian credit by having Eggman written as not really trusting Snively now, to the point that Eggman's not taking any chances, and he's basically going to be bugging and recording everything Snively does. I mean, Snively even said it himself in the issue when the tapes were being played, when Eggman said, okay, let's check the tapes, and Snively's thinking to himself, oh, of course, what am I thinking? Of course he'd do that. Of course he'd record my conversations and everything. You see, Snively, I think in a way, realizes that the road to getting the Iron Queen out of prison, if you will, and back into power alongside him is going to be a lot tougher. That's why he said it's not over the way Eggman thinks, and that's why Ian pointed out on the side in dark letters, the beginning. In other words, this is the beginning of Snively's quest, obviously, to get the Iron Queen back into power alongside him. Because like I said, believe it or not, even though the Iron Queen originally was like a sub-boss, she's actually more powerful than Eggman. This is why, and if you look at it in a way, this is why Eggman doesn't want Snively to communicate or have any association with the Iron Queen, because Eggman knows Snively is going to try his best to get the Iron Queen out of prison and back into power. And the reason Eggman knows this is because, like I said, Eggman knows himself that if Iron Queen gets out, he's going to have a fight on his hands, a losing fight, if you will. Now, besides that, some other things that came out of this issue, there's going to be, this thing with Snively and the Iron Queen and Eggman, and then the question is if we'll ever see Bunnie's uncle again. This is all going to coincide, I believe, or coincide with 225. I just got that feeling. It's going to coincide somehow with 225, some of these elements. Now, again, the question is, will we, now the real question is, what sinister scheme is Ian talking about when it comes to Sally's father, Sally and Eliza's father? I mean, towards the end, at the end of the main story, Queen Alicia was telling Max that he can't keep shutting people out, and that he needs, to see somebody. He needs to talk to somebody. And the king, of course, is very, I guess, perks up when he hears this, but instead of seeing his kids, he instead wants to see Jeffrey St. John. And that's what the question that Ian posed of what sinister scheme is being planned now. What it sounds like to me, and excuse me for a second, I gotta shut these windows. Okay, what it sounds like to me, basically what it sounds like to me is Max probably knows about something that possibly somebody, could be Dr. Quack, could be Hamlin, but somebody told him about it. And what is that? Well, apparently, excuse me again, there we go, a little quieter, but apparently Max must know something about the emeralds in the special zone. Now, again, we don't know where he could have gotten the information, right? We don't know where he could have gotten the information. Apparently, he could have gotten the information from, like I said, a number of sources. Hamlin, Dr. Quack, maybe even Tails' father. Father or somebody. Because remember, the last time Sonic went into the special zone along with Tails to get an emerald, I think it was to go and save his parents from, I guess, the world that they were on, or something. But that's what it sounded. I think that was the last time we saw him. Oh, we saw the special zone, or something like that. I believe that was the last time. Now, the reason I say this is because apparently, like I said, I don't know who could have given the information or how he could have found this out. But maybe Max knows that by using one of those emeralds from the special zone, he can be healed. So that's why it sounds like when Ian questions what sinister scheme is afoot now, and this is being asked about, and this question is being asked after the character of King Max, Sally and Eliza's father, asked to see Jeffrey St. John. Again, this all coincides with 25. Heck, the preview for 219, the preview for 219 says it itself. That 219 is just the start into 225. But again, the question is, what is it about? What is this two-parter in Service as a King going to be like? What betrayal will we see? And why is King Max wanting to see Jeffrey St. John? Again, I believe the reason is because he knows of something about the Special Zone, especially about the emeralds. Maybe somebody leaked information to him. Maybe he knows that, like I said, by using one of those emeralds, he can heal himself. Now think of it this way. Think of an interesting dynamic that would cause for the characters, if you will. Think of the interesting dynamic. Think of it. If King Max finds a way to heal himself by using one of the emeralds from the Special Zone, if that is the case, think about the interesting concepts about that, the interesting prospects about that. Elizus took his father's place as king because his father could no longer fulfill his duties. But think of it, if King Max is healed, King Max, in a way, if you think about it, does have the right to possibly regain and retake his throne and his rightful place as king. He has that power, if you will. He has that right. I could be wrong, but that's the way I look at it. He's got that right. He's got that power. So this is why I believe he's asking for Jeffrey St. John, because maybe he knows Jeffrey St. John, being loyal to the royal family, and knowing Jeffrey's father was loyal to the king anyway, is possibly going to have Jeffrey St. John help him get one of those emeralds to heal himself. Now again, this brings up an interesting prospect. This brings up an interesting situation. Because if the king, like I said, if that is the case, basically, to where the king can use one of the emeralds to heal himself, and then have the right, if you will, to retake his rightful place as king, think of the interesting prospects. He would again have the power to rule. And by ruling as king, he would have the power to disband the council. That's right. He would have the right to disband the council. There would be no more council. It would be back to the ruling of the royal family, back to the ruling of King Max. And think of the prospects on that. When it involves characters like Sally, characters like Elizus, Sonic. You know, think about it. Think of the possibilities. I mean, it just seems so coincidental. But again, those are just my thoughts on it. And with the fact that Ian is saying that this is going to lead us, this two-parter in Service as a King is going to lead us, it's going to start the journey into issue 225, then that's got to tell you something right there. I mean, that's got to tell you something right there. But again, what impact would that have? I think it's going to have a huge impact if Ian does write it to where the King Max, can regain his power. It would basically make things interesting because everybody, all the characters, ever since 179, I believe, 179, all the characters have been used to basically having the power given to the people. They're used to the council making the decisions, but the question is, how long will that last? How much longer? Who would be in position to take the place of those people? That would, I mean, just think about it. Think of the interesting concepts, the interesting prospects we could have out of all this. How interesting the stories could be. Because think about this. You could have the freedom fighters having to fight two wars, if you will. One from within and one against the Eggman Empire. And I'll be back in just a little bit to explain why.